Well, this is a nice surprise. Another new maker with another interesting product. Meet the Champ 45 from ZorKryth. Hey, welcome back to YouTube channel. This is Jay. It came in this cool, robust, waterproof hard case. It came in this plastic seal with a battery protector, user guide, spare O-rings, and screws. This kind of hard case is kind of handy to store your easy stuff, just like similar like the one we got from Loop Gear. This is a pre-production model, but I'm not sure if it's the prototype or a final production sample unit. There are several interesting features in this light, and I'm going to go over them, starting with this super interesting looking design. Such unique knurlings. I call this twist shaped knurlings. This is probably the first one that I know of with this kind of design, and I've looked at quite a few lights. I do love beautiful original designs. Oh yeah, it also has a spinner on the tail around the E-switch. Now this is not my first light with a spinner or fidget features. I had a few, but I only had this one left with bolt action. Couple pen with bolt action also, and a couple small spinner. This one has a smooth bearing, but it doesn't match a true dedicated spinner. With the size and weight, there's not enough mass for it to be able to spin as long. This one can spin more than 3 minutes. Anyways, back to this. There are three versions or formats, I should say. 14500, which I have here, 18350 and 18650. The 45 in the Champ 45 means it's a 14500 version, and each is available in several different materials. I happen to get the titanium version, which is my favorite material, and 14500 also happens to be my favorite format. Moreover, the 14500 is also the only one with the interesting LED setup. There are 4 segments quad LEDs arranged together, WRGB. I'll show you more later on the UI and the other beam shots. It's using an electronic tail switch, which means it's the travel is kind of shallow, and there's no half clicks. So the UI is a series of clicks and long presses. Again, more on the UI later on. Moving on the next part, that is the clip. This is probably the one thing I'm not too crazy about. Well, nothing is perfect, right? It's actually quite decent here, since the stainless steel clip blends with the titanium body in terms of color. I'm glad to get the titanium version. It doesn't fit as well for the other colors, in my opinion. I mean, it's not super deep carry, but it's functional. The retention is also fine. It is removable, so they can easily come up with an alternative design and sell them as accessories, which I hope they will do. As you might know, there's a whole genre of custom clips, so the interest and the market is definitely there. Anyways, this is just my nitpicking. One other thing while I'm discussing nitpicking, there's quite a hot spot on the tip of the clip. It's the only sharp edges throughout the flashlight, even sharper than the crenulated bezel. I'll probably just try and sand it down to smoothen it a bit. Maybe they can improve a bit for the mass production version. By the way, they're still having their Kickstarter campaign when this video is posted. Hopefully there's still time for you to join the campaign and take advantage of their special pricing up to 42%. This particular one is listed for 42% off at $69 from the 119 MSRP, which is $50 off. And as mentioned earlier, there are several other versions and materials which are cheaper as well. I'll put their Kickstarter link in the description below if you guys want to check them out. Moving on to the next two interesting things. The body is made from one-piece construction, which is super clean design. And since there's a spinner on the tail, we can't twist open from here. The only way to open the flashlight is from the crenulated bezel. So there are only two separator lines on both the top and the bottom at the very edge. The whole thing is one piece of metal. Oh, there are these 9 slot tritiums and another one on the switch, so a total of 10 slots. However, if you put tritium in the button, you won't be able to unscrew to disassemble the tail. But that's not something you would normally need to do anyways. Are you ready for the next two interesting things? It's using proprietary 14500 lithium battery with both positive and negative terminals on one side at the top. I'm guessing this is because of the e-switch mechanism. If it is, I would rather it to use an inner tube like the Enduro lights, so that it can use non-proprietary regular 14500 batteries or even regular AA batteries. This is not the first time I've experienced this kind of battery. I think some, if not all, of the OLEDs with dual switches are using the same method, and I saw some who mod it by using a cable from the bottom to the front to simulate the dual terminals. But I would still much rather have proprietary batteries over built-in ones. At least it's still user replaceable, and I'm sure they will sell replacement batteries. And interestingly, it supports both direct charging via the Type-C port, or it even works with the regular charger. If you've been following my channel, you will know that I'm not a big fan of billboarding. I don't mind brandings or logos if they're not obtrusive, cleverly placed or intended as part of the design. This has 0 brandings, not even a logo or a serial number. Well, actually there's a unique serial number. They're just hidden. As mentioned earlier in the beginning, it uses special XML color Gen 2 LED from X-Lamp. I never seen quad LEDs with this kind of arrangement. If you guys know any other brand or model that's using the same or similar LED, please let us know in the comment below. Okay, let's see the internals. It has a dual spring design. It's using orange pale refractor, and there's a green glow in the dark in the gasket, but it doesn't really glow very bright and does not last long. So maybe about 95% of the flashlight is this one piece chunk of metal. Let me show you the driver or LED. And I believe this is brass pill. Oh, if you notice, there's a battery indicator when you first put it in. Green means battery is good. Still have I'm not sure how many percent, but if it's red, that means you need to be charged. That's the only indicator you have for the battery. Before we go on the UI, let's do some size comparison with other popular 14500 lights. You saw this. There are basically two categories: small or short, I should say, and the full size one. There's quite a few. So they're basically about the same. with the rest of the full size. I only have 3 that are shorter. Okay. Okay, let's talk about the UI. It's quite a simple one. I got it all figured out right away before even looking at the user manual. Single click for on and off with memory, and it's surprisingly quite throwy. We'll see more later outside. Long press from on to cycle from low to medium and high, back to low. There's a shortcut to moonlight mode by long pressing from off, and I'm glad it's not too long. Plus, it's quite low, rated at 2 lumens, although it's not quite a sub-lumen mode. There's no turbo. Double click will bring you to the RGB mode instead. Then long press to cycle from red, red flash, green, green flash, blue, blue flash, flashing beacons, red and blue, rainbow, which is my favorite, and marquee, where they blink each color. Fortunately, this RGB mode is memorized, so I don't have to cycle all the way each time to get my favorite rainbow mode, or some will store the memory on red. I do wish that it has another mode that is breeding color changing mode, that I think would look cool. Basically like this, but just slower and fade in and out. Back to red. Unfortunately, the RGB mode cannot be dim. They are quite bright at night time in the dark, which means you can use it as an auxiliary, and they run quite hot. I had it on while facing down for maybe a few minutes. I was surprised when I held the light. It's quite warm, not to the level that is toasty or anything. I just didn't expect such heat from what I thought equivalent to maybe a medium level. Hopefully they can edit the option to dim it in the future, like those custom light with exotic drivers that has a secondary output, which we usually have to pick between red, green or blue. This has all 3, just need to dim it down. The beam shot has some artifacts due to the granulated bezel. But the granulated bezel also produces a cool pattern by letting the lights escape when facing down. Okay, triple clicks for strobe as usual. Long press to cycle to SOS. This is not memorized though, so it's always strobe, which is good. However, the quad click does not lock out the light. You have to do 5 clicks instead. I'm not sure why they didn't just use the usual quad clicks. Most people already familiar with it, and it's one less click. Especially since there's no hardware lockout, we'll have to rely on this electronic lockout. The E-switch is actually quite stiff, but I had accidentally on in my pocket the second day. Since there's not much option or space when trying to clip it down to your pocket, you kinda have to push the edges. Luckily, I always cycle back to low before turning off the light. But I'm super glad that it has a momentary low on lockout. However, it's not 2-level moonlight like what you find on interior lights. And I like that they're using 2 blinks in low as the lock and unlock indicator. Some lights use blinding strobes as an indicator. Okay, I might have exaggerated, but it made me avoid using that feature. This is rated at maximum 600 lumens, which is an okay for an AA size light. And it's not the rosy tint that many seems to love, including myself, but it's a nice clean white tint, not greenish at all. Hopefully they're using or have the option for popular LEDs like Nichia 518As in neutral 4000 to 5000K in the future. Okay, let's see some beam shot. Okay, let's see some beam shot. Starting with moonlight. And low. Medium. High. It is quite throwy, but doesn't quite reach those trees back there. Let's try the color modes. Oh, stroke first. Starting with the red. Also quite throwy. Red blinky. Green. Green blinky. And blue. You can see the spill. This is the rainbow. Anarchy. Back to white. On memory. Still. Okay, that's it. Honestly, I think you guys will like this. Don't snooze on this, especially if you can get on the special pricing on the Kickstarter campaign. This 14500 titanium is my personal favorite, the best version in my opinion, the one I would personally recommend. I think the size is ideal, and the only format with a cool WRGB LED option. But there are other materials. Stainless steel is probably my second option for the more affordable option. And as mentioned earlier, there are other formats. The 18650 is probably kind of too big for me personally, but that white 18250 looks interesting, and it's not the micro arc oxidation, but sort of like ceramic coating. Hopefully I can check that one out next. There are only a few things that I would change: a nicer looking clip, option to dim the RGB light, and the ability to use regular 14500 battery, or better yet, dual fuel with a regular AA. Hopefully this can be a useful and constructive feedback for the ZK's team. These are just their first release. I'm excited and eagerly looking forward to see what they'll come up with next. My wish list or idea is a smaller 10440 light with a twisty mechanism. Since they're already using this swirl design, I think it's fitting. Maybe a twist at the back like this, or the usual in the front. Doesn't matter if it's several modes or the simple two modes, but preferably in a Titan 4 off like this. So this is just two modes. Okay, I think that's it for this one. I wish ZorKryth's successful campaign in future. As always, thanks for watching and see you guys in the next one. Bye now.